it's destroying everything.
It's not destroying.
Welcome to Movie Mojo 10. The best science fiction involves enormous ideas, complex timelines, and issues about technology and reality. Some films go so far as to make it nearly difficult to see them all at once. These 10 sci-fi films will have you wanting to see them again. Select the one that most perplexed you, then hit subscribe and leave a comment. Number 10, Arrival.
Got 21 hours
before we start global war.
So how do we clarify their intentions?
I go back in.
Not everyone is wired for what you're about to do.
So what do they look like?
You'll see soon enough.
Arrival, 2016. The mind-bending science fiction film directed by Denis Villeneuve is the next film on our list. Not your ordinary invasion of the Earth by extraterrestrial beings, this is a tale about time, destiny, and the bond between humans. Dr. Louise Banks, a linguist who has been brought in to translate the language of extraterrestrials who have landed in sleek, shell-like ships, is portrayed by Amy Adams in the film. These organisms, which are known as heptapods, interact with one another through circular symbols. These symbols convey more than just words. They also modify Louise's perception of the world around her. Because she is learning their language, she begins to see time in a different way, and the distinction between the past and the future becomes more hazy. It is a movie that stays with you, and each time you watch it again, you learn something new. Number 9, The Fountain.
The tree of life.
2006's The Fountain is a science fiction romance drama that weaves together 3 different narratives that take place in different periods. Hugh Jackman and Rachel Weisz play roles in each of the films. A Spanish conquistador who is looking for the Tree of Life, a modern-day scientist who is attempting to rescue his dying wife, and a futuristic traveler who is drifting through space with a mysterious tree. Reincarnation and immortality are 2 of the topics that are explored in depth throughout the movie, which leaves spectators to piece together its disjointed narrative. Number 8, Annihilation.
No.
Start from the beginning.
Not only is Annihilation a science fiction film from the late 2010s, but it is also an audacious and terrifying journey into the unknown, directed by Alex Garland, who was previously responsible for Ex Machina. In the film that was released in 2018, Natalie Portman plays the role of Lena, a scientist who ventures into a peculiar and dangerous zone known as the Shimmer. Additionally, it is the same location from where her husband, Oscar Isaac, almost escaped. Not only that, but she is there to find out what took place. Within, the reality begins to twist in unsettling ways, and existence begins to transform into something that is unrecognizable. There is a deep dive into biological horror and existential dread in this picture, which also features eerie imagery and music that stays with you for a long time. The conclusion, on the other hand, leaves you with more questions than it does answers. Number 7, Looper.
So you're me in 30 years.
Looper is a time travel thriller directed by Rian Johnson. Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis play younger and older versions of the same hitman, respectively, in the film. Targets that were sent back from 2074 by criminal syndicates are eliminated by loopers in the year 2044. On the other hand, things quickly go from bad to worse as Joe's future self is sent back as his next victim. The film explores the concept of time travel in a manner that poses significant ethical problems without providing an excessive amount of explanation for its contradictions, enabling you to piece together the story on your own. Number 6, Coherence. With the help of coherence, an uncomfortable concept is transformed into a mind-bending, independent science fiction horror film. The film, which was written and directed by James Ward Burkitt, begins with a casual dinner party, during which friends catch up with one another, drink, and laugh. At that moment, a comet flies by overhead, and everything begins to change. They are soon confronted with other versions of themselves, and their phones are malfunctioning and the power is flickering. It turns out that every house on the block represents a separate reality, and despite their ignorance, they have been moving between the several realities. It is up to you to piece together the facts and figure out who the real culprits are, as the movie does not provide any straightforward answers. Number 5. Primer.
And made of it something more. Meticulous. They were these things. Methodical. Nothing extreme, like anyone they buried.
Primer is that once-in-a-lifetime independent science fiction that will test even the most brilliant minds to their limits. This movie, which Shane Carruth directed, wrote, and starred in, tells the story of two friends who are both engineers and who happen to discover time travel in their garage by mistake. Primer, which was produced on a budget of only $7,000, does away with the typical Hollywood glamour in favor of sophisticated dialogue and layers of plot that drag you into a philosophical conundrum about the unexpected catastrophes that technology may create. Carruth's approach is all about authenticity. He was an engineer himself, so the science in Primer feels genuine, as if you are actually witnessing two real individuals lose control over something that is much larger than they could have ever imagined. Because there is no overdone gloss or showy computer-generated imagery in this film. It has a raw, almost documentary-like feel to it. On the other hand, it is a true mindbender, and it is not something that everyone should do. Number 4, source code.
What would you do if you knew you had less than 8 minutes to live?
I'd make those seconds count.
Think, Captain, remember back. Who bombed the train?
I don't know who bombed the train!
Then try again.
The science fiction thriller, Source Code, which was released in 2011, immediately immerses you in a convoluted narrative that may initially be difficult to comprehend. The character of Captain Coulter Stevens, a United States Army pilot who is drawn into a top-secret military operation, is portrayed by Jake Gyllenhaal. The objective of his task is to relive the final 8 minutes of the life of a stranger who was riding a commuter train in Chicago in order to locate the bomber and prevent another attack. However, the action is not the only thing that Source Code explores. It also explores inquiries concerning identity, free will, and reality, all of which culminate in a conclusion that gives a lot of room for reflection. Number 3, Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko is a film that blurs the border between truth and hallucination by combining elements such as time travel, fate, and psychological breakdown experiences. An emotionally unstable adolescent named Donnie, who is portrayed by Jake Gyllenhaal, is the protagonist of this movie. Donnie nearly escapes death when a jet engine smashes into his bedroom. Immediately after that, he begins to have unsettling visions of a figure named Frank dressed as a rabbit. This figure informs him that the world will end in 28 days. In an effort to make sense of everything that is going on, Donnie begins to explore time travel and questions everything that is going on around him. At first, the movie was not successful at the box office, but it eventually became a cult favorite. Number 2, 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Dave, do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
Very few movies have left as much of an impression as 2001, A Space Odyssey. Not only did Stanley Kubrick construct a science fiction film, but he also crafted a visual and philosophical journey that continues to captivate audiences even after more than half a century has passed. The story of this film is about technology, the unknown, and our role in the universe. It begins with early humans discovering tools and ends with astronauts facing off against a dangerously clever artificial intelligence. The film film 2001 has the ability to make you feel both small and infinite. Its breathtaking images, spooky silence, and the disconcerting calm of HAL 9000 bring forth these feelings. And that conclusion, which is a cosmic enigma that continues to provoke discussion. Some people think it's plotting, while others think it's brilliant, but one thing is certain, it completely altered the genre of science fiction. Number 1, Inception.
Never recreate from your memory. Always imagine new places.
Wake me up! Wake me up!
Inception is not merely a film. Rather, it is a science fiction thriller directed by Christopher Nolan that has revolutionized the way in which we think about storytelling. The primary role is played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who plays Dom Cobb, a thief who does more than just steal secrets. He also descends into people's dreams in order to steal what is concealed. On the other hand, this time he is tasked with an impossible task. Not theft of an idea, but planting of an idea. As part of a mission that might either bring Cobb back together with his children or cause him to get permanently ensnared in a dream,